our two stalwart lawyers to looking at the politics that's playing out, because all of this is taking place, remember, against the backdrop of the Lok Sabha elections and indeed the fear that the opposition has that there is no level playing field. Today, Aam Aadmi Party leader Atishi claimed she was approached by the BJP through mediators to leave the Aam Aadmi Party, failing which she too would be arrested. The BJP has rubbished the charge and said the AAP is getting desperate. Listen in.
मुझे ये कहा गया कि या तो मैं भारतीय जनता पार्टी ज्वाइन कर लूं, अपना पॉलिटिकल करियर बचा लूं, अपना पॉलिटिकल करियर बढ़ा लूं, और अगर भारतीय जनता पार्टी नहीं ज्वाइन करी तो आने वाले 1 महीने में ईडी द्वारा मुझे गिरफ्तार कर लिया जाएगा। ये एक मेरे बहुत करीबी व्यक्ति के माध्यम से मुझे बताया गया।
हमारे यहाँ आतिशी जैसे पॉलिटिकल एक्टिविस्ट के लिए कोई वैकेंसी है नहीं। जब शराब घोटाले में सारी आम आदमी पार्टी फंसी हुई है तो हम इस समय उनको अपने यहाँ लेके हमने क्या अपने लिए सिरदर्दी क्रिएट करनी है?
So what explains the politics that's playing out? First, of course, the ED's U-turn in the Sanjay Singh case. What implications will it have politically? Is it a silver lining for the Aam Aadmi Party ahead of the Lok Sabha elections? Will Sanjay Singh lead the AAP campaign? Will bail blunt the AAP's vendetta charge? How does this all play out now politically? Joining me now are two other special guests, Nalin Kohli, BJP spokesperson and senior Supreme Court lawyer, and Jasmine Shah, Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson, is joining me. To you, Nalin Kohli, first. The bail which has been granted to Sanjay Singh is being seen by some as a silver lining for Aam Aadmi Party ahead of the Lok Sabha elections, particularly the observation that no money trail or no money has been found on Sanjay Singh. How do you see it?
I am amazed, and as a lawyer I must point this out, at how this can be a cause of celebration when Sanjay Singh stands charge sheeted, is going to be tried for money laundering, and the trial court has already taken cognizance of the charge sheet filed by the Enforcement Directorate. It's amazing that somebody who gets bail is celebrating it while he has to face the entire trial to prove his innocence. Taking cognizance means that the court has prima facie agreed with the charge sheet and seen material on record that points to Mr. Sanjay Singh being involved in this money laundering issue. Point 2. How is the bail taken to be a U-turn by the Enforcement Directorate? The ED, through its counsel, the learned ASG Mr. Raju, did not oppose the bail. The court says it won't be a precedent. The court says we are not commenting on the merits. Bail does not change the fact that Mr. Sanjay Singh is an accused in the charge sheet filed, which the court has accepted and taken cognizance and directed him to now face trial.
Right.
So therefore, if this is a cause of celebration for the Aam Aadmi Party, then their standards of honesty are really amazing.
Can I get Jasmine Shah to respond? Jasmine Shah, why is the Aam Aadmi Party celebrating? It's only bail. It's not as if Sanjay Singh has been declared innocent. So why is the celebration over a bail? Is it premature in many ways?
Rajdeep, first let me correct you. We're not celebrating, but we are recognizing that this is not just a huge legal victory, but this is a huge moral victory for the entire Aam Aadmi Party. Why? Because today in the bail hearing, what the Honorable Justices of the Supreme Court said has a lot of meaning. They said, if for 6 months you have put some person in jail and after 6 months you are saying you have no money trail, you have no trace, which means you have no proof, then why are you putting somebody in behind bars? And this is precisely what Aam Aadmi Party has been saying so far. We have said that this is the first time that for over 2 years an investigation is going on. Not a single evidence has been found. Not a single penny of money trail has been found. All that the BJP and ED are presenting are, fake statements by government approvers or witnesses who we all know under what pressure and duress these statements were extracted. And today the court seems to have agreed with it. So on one side, the court is saying no money trail is found. Second, and this is very important.
No money
Rajiv,
trail in
viewers to
Sanjay
understand.
Singh's case. No, Mr. Jasmine Shah, let's be correct. No money trail in the specific instance of Sanjay Singh.
No, the larger point that not a single rupee of money trail has been found anywhere in this case is also true, and this is a matter of fact. Even when Mr. Sisodia's bail hearing was happening, this is a matter that the Supreme Court, even at that point, they made that if this is the evidence with which you will go to trial, this case will stand dismissed in 2 minutes. And you are aware about this remark being made back in October. Today we are in the month of April, and the same remark continues. The other important thing I want to point out is that this entire case, as far as Mr. Sanjay Singh was concerned, was made out on the statement of only one approver called Dinesh Arora. Now, for the first 10 statements that this approver gives, he sings a very different tune. He never names Mr. Sanjay Singh.
In the first 9 statements.
No, the data I have is that the first 10
9
statements.
First 9 statements.
Okay,
I've got the Supreme Court
9
order.
statements. All right. So first 9 statements, he's saying that I have nothing to do with Sanjay Singh. He never names him, but then he's arrested. He's incarcerated. And finally, the 10th statement comes out where he suddenly names Sanjay Singh. He has no corroborating evidence. And on the basis of that 1/10th statement, first the ED junks the other 9 statements. And now it's saying that on 10th statement, I'll put a parliamentarian inside jail.
Okay.
So this is the entire joke that is being going out in the name of a liquor scam investigation. We stand vindicated today. Why? Not because, it's just a bail. Because so far, BJP has been saying, okay, you have a lot of arguments to make. You are saying Sarath Reddy has given us BJP, a lot of crores of money, who's another star witness. Then why are you guys not getting bail? Even the Prime Minister a day back said कि बड़े-बड़े भ्रष्टाचारी को Supreme Court से भी bail नहीं मिल रही है. अब bail मिल गई. That entirely shows that, all this while what Aam Aadmi Party has been saying, and this is the same truth that holds for Mr. Kejriwal. He has also been framed only and only on the basis of these fake statements by people who were earlier singing a different tune. You put them in jail for 6 months and then they say what the ED wants them to say. And this is the entire game that is being called out by the Supreme Court today. And I think this completely changes, I would say, the trajectory of where this case is going. It's a huge moral victory. It's a huge legal victory for the Aam Aadmi Party.
Okay. Nalin Kohli, your turn now.
I need to respond.
Yes, please.
I have to respond. This will take time. And I must also point out, Rajdeep, that this is not a joke, as Mr. Shah is trying to make it. There's a bundle of falsehood that has come from his side. Let me correct the facts. First of all, for anyone who understands, respects, and bows down to the Honorable Supreme Court, they must first begin by saying, not putting words into the mouth of the Supreme Court. And that's how we start. Nowhere is there a great moral victory or anything else. I said at the beginning, the Honorable Bench of this Honorable Supreme Court said it's not a matter on merits. There is no comment on merit, so please produce me an order of the Honorable Supreme Court saying even one thing that Mr. Shah has tried to say in this whole so-called speech that he gave.
No, sir.
The order has to be read as it is.
Nalin,
and there is no
Mr.
such
Kohli,
order on
Mr.
moral
Kohli,
victory,
Mr. Kohli, I don't want to interrupt your
Number
chain
two.
of law.
Number
but
two.
No,
Number two.
the court said,
Number two.
correct me if I'm wrong, court said, fact of the matter is no money has been recovered. These are the words of the court.
At his house, yes, and I'm coming to that. I'm building each one by one.
Right.
Thank you. This one didn't interrupt me. It has now enabled me to go specifically to that point.
Okay.
Point number 2. For anyone with basic understanding of investigation, what we would call class 1 level of investigation, forget about college or postgraduate, they would know that investigation entails the following. Looking at the conduct of the accused, finding evidence to link the accused with the crime, that evidence has to corroborate what is the theory on which the investigation is going or the line of investigation, and thereafter, when you raid, see whether you can recover anything incriminating. The liquor scam is a little old. I am yet to meet a murderer who keeps the murder weapon in his drawing room or in his dining room, waiting for the investigative agency to raid them so that he can hand over the murder weapon to them. It is in the nature of a crime that a criminal or an accused will do everything to cover up or hide his being involved in that crime. Simple. That's human nature. That's how it is. And the Aam Aadmi Party is no exception. Cash not being found in the house of Mr. Kejriwal, some 70,000, doesn't mean he's innocent. What has to be seen is, what is the evidence around it? Let's come to Sanjay Singh. Mr. Sanjay Singh is accused of 2 crore rupees, having taken that money for the party purposes. He is linked to a man that is being run down as an approver. I'll answer that separately. The electronic trail, the CDRs point and confirm what is happening, as does what is happening in Goa, where the elections were taking place. Why do you think all of this is put down? A charge sheet is a detailed exercise after the investigation. It goes before a court where the judge applies his judicial mind to then decide whether framing of charges should take place. Should I take cognizance, put it to trial or not? Or should I just reject it at this stage? That has happened, which means what the ED has presented to the court of law, in this case the trial court, finds merit in what investigation and is put before it, along with the investigation in terms of corroborative or circumstantial or other evidence, direct evidence. 3, approver. What is an approver? Let's understand that. An approver is a duly recognized process under law. An approver means if I have a complete chain along with me, but if a person who's in that chain becomes critical to assist the investigation in ensuring a conviction, that means ensuring the guilty goes to jail, is punished for the crime, the court gives that person an opportunity to be an approver on the condition that the person will speak the truth and will only ensure that he is not, messing around with the investigation or things like that. On the day that the person becomes an approver, that person is no longer an accused. In a sense, is pardoned. Because the approver is not a criminal anymore facing charge. That approver moves away from the box of the accused to the box of the witness. You, me, anyone else can be witness. The approver is now a witness. And that approver is helping the investigation to that. This is what is done globally.
Rajiv,
it's part of our statutes of the CRPC, period. Now you can't turn around and say, oh, in 8 times he did not say this in the 9th. He said it in the 9th. Evidence is collected. And that trial will happen.
Okay,
Now let me take 1 minute ahead. At the end of the trial, the 1 minute, last sentence, at the end of the trial, Mr. Singh in this case may be exonerated or may also find a conviction. So the only thing that has to be said, all this moral victory and all, reserve your horses, wait for the trial.
No, one should reserve one's horses when one gets bail, but
obviously is on.
Yes, Jasmine Shah, why don't you respond to what you're hearing? According to Nalin Kohli, the fact is that an approver incriminating someone is part of the CRPC. It cannot be turned around by you to say that it is a politically instigated approver targeting an individual, is what the BJP has been claiming for the longest time.
Mr. Nalin Kohli can cite here the legal textbooks, which he seems to be doing. But then what explains that many approvers in this entire case have a direct connection with the BJP? What do legal textbooks have to say? Have you ever heard of an approver on whose testimony a sitting chief minister is put behind bars, and turns out that at the time of, after ED had arrested him, that approver, Sharat Chandra Reddy, who was also named as the kingpin of this entire matter, donated 55 crores to the BJP. So person who you have accused of profiteering from this entire scam has actually sent his proceeds of crime to the BJP. And Mr. Kohli here is saying that approver he is a version of God. Whatever he says is gospel truth. Number 2, Magunta Reddy. Now, this gentleman and his son's testimony, again, same pattern, Rajdeep. 7 statements given first, where no mention of Mr. Kejriwal. 5 months, Raghav Reddy, the son, is put in jail, and after that they lose all hope and finally give one incriminating statement against Mr. Kejriwal. What happens? They get bail, and a few months later his father, Magunta Reddy, gets a Lok Sabha ticket from the NDA alliance. I mean, this kind of a sham of an investigation today is out in the open. And when we point these things out, Rajdeep, over your shows also, I pointed out over the last few days, what does BJP say? Oh, you have all these excellent arguments to make. Why don't you make it in the court? Why are you not getting bail? So today we are saying we have got the bail. Today, even the Supreme Court has specifically questioned that this improvisation of the statement by a government approver, where he says something for the first 10 times and something diametrically opposite the 11th time, puts this into question. Something
Okay.
to that effect has been said in the court. So please accept that, this is nothing but a sham investigation. आज आपकी पूरी पोल जो है दुनिया के सामने खुल रही है. Today the joke is being made out that ED as an agency is doing nothing but the political bidding of BJP, and slowly now you will see how this entire case is going to fall like a pack of cards, because this is exactly the manner in which all the other statements have been taken by these government approvers.
I have just a couple of minutes where I want to ask therefore the political question. The Aam Aadmi Party is claiming that this case is going to fall like a pack of cards. Narendra Kohli, is that a fear? You see, for the longest time, the BJP has been saying, if you have a problem with the way investigations are conducted, go to the courts. What if tomorrow, and this is hypothetical, I know, what if tomorrow the court rules that these arrests were illegal, that there was no money trade, that there was no money exchange, there is no proof of a wider conspiracy? Is that a risk the BJP runs at a time when it is accused by the opposition of using or weaponizing the ED to fix the opponent? Is that a worry or not a worry?
No. No. No, why should the BJP be concerned? Let me start with the top. That if the court exonerates any accused, it is a slap on the face of the investigation. It's as simple as that. It's a slap on the case of the prosecution who prosecuted the case. But on the other hand, if there is a conviction, which is equally true, isn't that a pat on the back of the investigation and a pat on the back of the prosecution?
Sure, but we don't have a conviction
And isn't
yet.
that a slap on the face?
So we don't have a conviction yet, and in India the problem is the process can be the punishment, as you well know, Mr. Kohli.
So therefore, that's why as hypothetical as... Rajiv, let me finish. Rajiv, let me finish. Rajiv, let me finish. I have 2 points more to add. I mean, so therefore, that is, I'm giving you both the probabilities. It's a 50-50. Number 2, now it said, Mr. Kejriwal is sitting chief minister. How can you do this? How can you do that? Article 14 doesn't apply to him? Or is he the new Nehru-Gandhi family equivalent? The politics of entitlement, I am Kejriwal, and therefore the law of the land must not apply to me. I must be treated differently. Or perhaps Mr. Kejriwal is learning from his new allies. I mean, there was the famous case of the political party of Bihar, Lalu Prasad Yadav ji. I mean, he said all of these things, if I recall correctly. You would also remember them, Rajdeep. And then finally, he was convicted. They screamed hoarse about it being Chara Ghotala being wrong, Chara Ghotala being wrong. Then several of our leaders, I mean, I think if I recall correctly, Ravi Shankar Prasad ji was one person who pursued it diligently among the legal team. Mr. Yadav went to jail and he installed then Rabdi Devi ji. In Delhi also, there seem to be parallels happening at the moment if we just follow the news.
Okay, can I just, before I come to the parallels that are there...
We have always thought Anna Hazare was the ex-guru. Maybe now we have a new guru in Lalu Prasad Yadav ji.
Okay, let me just play... I'll get you, Jasmine, to have a final word, but I want to play what the Prime Minister said. He was on the campaign trail and he's typically using what's happening with Mr. Kejriwal as an example of what he calls Bhrashtachar Bachao Alliance. Listen to what the Prime Minister says and then I'll get you, Jasmine, to respond.
हम हैं जो कह रहे हैं भ्रष्टाचार हटाओ और वो कहते हैं भ्रष्टाचारी बचाओ. आप मुझे बताइए, भ्रष्टाचार हटना चाहिए कि नहीं हटना चाहिए? भ्रष्टाचार हटना चाहिए कि नहीं हटना चाहिए? भ्रष्टाचार से मुक्ति मिलनी चाहिए कि नहीं मिलनी चाहिए? भ्रष्टाचारी जेल जाने चाहिए कि नहीं जाने चाहिए? भ्रष्टाचारियों को सजा होनी चाहिए कि नहीं होनी चाहिए? ये देश की आवाज है और मोदी आपकी हर आवाज को सुनता है और उसके लिए ताकत भी लगा देता है.
Jasmine, the same question to you now. Are you worried that for all the investments you're making in suggesting that this case is fixed, what if Mr. Kejriwal doesn't get relief, spends endless months in jail because it's not easy to get bail under PMLA and eventually is convicted? Then does the entire Aam Aadmi Party edifice, which was based on anti-corruption, collapse? So you too are running a big risk now in the next few months.
Not at all, Rajdeep. The word that comes to my mind is Satyamev Jayate. We know that we are on the side of truth. The legal process in India does take time, unfortunately, but like days like today show that justice eventually will be done. And slowly and steadily, all these things are coming out. All the statements, and it made me laugh to hear what the Prime Minister was saying, because on one side, you're getting people like Ashok Chavan, Narayan Rane, Chhagan Bhujbal, the most tainted politicians in the BJP. You drop cases, you give clean chits to them, and you take money from tainted people and sharabi kingpins like Sharath Reddy, and you then say ki main bhrashtachar mukh Bharat. I mean, I think today BJP and Prime Minister are making a joke of themselves. The manner in which you are framing opposition politicians on very thin charges, putting them in jail, putting somebody in jail after conviction is understandable, Rajdeep, and we welcome, by due process of law. But nowhere in the history, of India as well as in mature democracies, do you put opposition politicians behind bar at a stage where trial hasn't begun. And in case of Mr. Kejriwal, charge sheet bhi nahi filed hui hai. No ECIR framing Mr. Kejriwal has been filed. But you have put the sitting chief minister in jail. So the joke that is being made out is of the country in front of international eyes. And I think that is what worries us equally as much as the shrinking space for opposition and the unfair playing field that BJP is creating.
Okay, so the optics of it, in conclusion, Nalin Kohli, are you fine with the optics of a sitting chief minister having been arrested on the eve of an election without a charge sheet, without a trial, simply on the basis of what an approver said several months ago, and then on the eve of the election you pick him up? That approver in turn gives electoral bonds to your party, or his company gives your party. These optics don't worry you at all? You don't see any sympathy at all for Mr. Kejriwal?
Fighting on an NDA ticket.
And a feeling that, and a belief that the Prime Minister or the government of the day is simply settling scores here?
I'll answer that. So I'll, Rajdeep, not make a comment about me saying anything. I'm going to just give you a statement, several statements, and leave it for your viewers to decide about Mr. Kejriwal. So why is Mr. Kejriwal in jail, and who's responsible? Let them decide after this 4-5 statements. He's being investigated as the chief minister because there is an allegation of a scam, liquor scam. His 2 ministers are in jail, not getting bail for a fairly long time. Every time the material is shown by the ED to the courts, they decline bail. That means there is something in the investigation. Now, Mr. Kejriwal is the chief minister. Obviously, those ministers are working on his direction, or he's an inept, useless chief minister who doesn't know what his ministers are doing. He gets, based on the investigation, summons. What does he do with the summons? Any man who has the truth does a press conference. Mr. Kejriwal is famous for shooting off his mouth on everything. And instead of speaking on this, he speaks on everything on the world except the liquor scam. Gives a certificate to everybody who's in jail, but doesn't speak about the decision-making process in the liquor scam. Runs away from the summons. Vipassana, I am campaigning. I will not go now. I will go next time. Now this summon is illegal. Finally, he's arrested. What comes out in the media, through the media to the rest of the country, is when he's asked questions, I don't know. That man is confused. He's not cooperating. It shows a lot.
Okay.
And it speaks for itself. I will let your viewers decide. Do they see Mr. Kejriwal as wrongly arrested, or do they feel that there is some cause for an investigation now to arrest him?
30 seconds, Jasmine Shah.
All that Nalin Kohli said is that he was escaping, Mr. Kejriwal was escaping investigation. But now he was investigated non-stop for 11 days in custody. You couldn't find a single new truth. And now, even after that, you sent him to judicial custody, which is very clear that your entire purpose from the beginning was to arrest him by hook or crook and prevent him from campaigning in Lok Sabha election. Now you have finished investigation. Why are you not letting a sitting chief minister go back to his duties? You carry on with your investigation. It shows you have no faith in your investigative process. You have very little proof when you go to trial, and therefore put him behind the prison as long as the PMLA allows, which we all know is the most draconian law in India today. For years, you can put somebody in jail, no trial. And this is exactly what authoritarian regimes are known to do.
Let me leave it there. I want to, before I end this, thank both of you, because neither of you engaged in crosstalk. Both of you gave your points and gave them forcefully, and let the viewers judge. I hope many more leaders will embrace the precedent set by Nalin Kohli and Jasmine Shah, because I think it enhances the knowledge of viewers when there is no crosstalk and shouting. So thank you both very much for joining me and I patiently have listened
I think-
to
and-
both
and-
sides.
and-
What we do here on the news today is I'm not going to play judge and jury. I'm only going to raise the questions.